Hello. It has been a week. Today we're going to talk about my progress on adding the denim sleeves to the jacket. So if you are following along with that and you want to know all about that, then stay tuned because that's what we're going to be talking about for sure. But before we get to that, and I'll have a timestamp below if you want to skip the been a week stuff. But if you like that kind of thing, well, hey, listen in. Uh, let's see. Right now, as of recording this, it's a Sunday. And the Friday after I released my big Joanne video about Michael's buying Joanne, which is probably the most, at this point, the most popular video I've ever put out. The Friday immediately after that, my mother, I got a call that she was in the hospital and she wasn't going to make it. Now, spoiler alert, she's not fine, but she's going to make it. But that kind of put into motion a week worth of really stressful stuff where she had a few hours to a few days to live. No, she's going to be okay. No, I don't think she's going to make it. And so I've been sort of in that. I need to go into taking care of family mode and nothing else matters. So I have literally spent 7 out of the last 8 days at the hospital, a minimum of 5 hours every day. And I'm exhausted. And I feel like my system is starting to catch up with me and say, yeah, take a break. Being around in a hospital that much, I feel like even though I was trying to be very healthy, I'm still sort of getting that niggling of being sick. So I decided to take a day off. And Mom, I love you. You're okay. You're being managed. And I will see you tomorrow. So I am here trying to catch up on a few videos while also still kind of dealing with, all of those feelings. Like, if you're that kind of person that's really tuned into your body, you know before you're sick that you're getting sick. And that's kind of where I am. I've got just a tiny little scratch in the throat, just a tiny little kind of mild headache, and just kind of that overall kind of body malaise. So it's not a full-blown cold by any means, but there's just that niggling and the dry eyes. That's the other thing I get all the time. Anyway, that's where I am. So I did want to get a video out because, truth be told, I do this for me. It is very therapeutic to me to be able to do these videos and share them with you. So it's actually very tough on my ability to manage stress when I'm not able to produce these and get them out. So it's it's kind of a catch-22. You're stressed out and you can't do what you need to do to relieve the stress. So here's where we are. In the last video, I had several different color options for the sleeves for this jacket. And what I really kind of came to the conclusion of was that I really wanted to use up some of the yarn that I just had enough of to do this project. So I started out, it's behind me here, with this. And I really like this I think that's a really great color combination. And I was really excited about it. The other thing that I was struggling with was what stitch I was going to use. What was I going to do for the pattern? Because I didn't want to do a traditional granny stitch. I tried some granny squares. I just wasn't loving how that ended up. So I went with this shell stitch, which is one, I don't know if it has a formal name. I'm sure it probably does, but I did learn this in another pattern, so I borrowed it from another pattern. And I love the way that it looks overall. Hopefully you can see that okay. And this was working great for me. And then I'm like, I wonder how long I need those sleeves to be. So I did some Googling, and the first thing that I found was that the sleeves needed to be like 30 inches. And so I didn't even, because I was in that state of stress, I'm just like, okay, 30 inches. Didn't question it whatsoever. And I measured how much of this I had already made, 3.5 inches, and it had taken 14 grams. And then I measured this, and this is all I have of this, and this is 97 grams. So I'm doing the math. I'm like, there is no way I am going to get 30 inches, let alone 60 for 2 sleeves out of the 2 of these. So I decided, okay, let me move on to something else. So then I found I had some of this. This, I don't know what it is. It was one that was gifted to me. I have no idea. I think, you know what? I don't even know what fiber content it is. It's definitely a fingering weight, but I don't know what the makeup or anything of it is. This is Schoppel, Schoppel, Ambiente, and when I look it up on Ravelry or any of those sites, there's another name, Life Living something or other, that goes with it, but this tag does not have that. And so I think it's from Germany, or I don't know, somewhere not in America, because the label is mostly in a foreign language that I do not speak. So I thought, well, maybe I can do something with this. And so I worked up a sleeve, and then I went back and I looked, and I'm like, let me double check that. So I actually measured a sleeve that I have on a denim jacket, because this already had the sleeves cut off, so it's not like I could just measure the sleeves on this. I mean, it came as a vest. So normally what I would do, like when I did the sweatshirt, was I just measured the length of sleeve on the sweatshirt and made the sleeve that long. But since this didn't have it, I had to do some math. And so I measured the sleeve on a jacket that I have, a denim jacket, and that was closer to like 20 inches. So I'm like, well, that's a lot different than 30 inches. So then I'm like, oh, okay, this I should have enough of this, because I did the math thinking that I had 4 skeins of this. So while at the hospital, oh, and I did try granny squares with different colors kind of surrounding just to offset it, but these are not, well, this one's a little bit of a thinner yarn. I had this as a sport weight, but I actually think it's closer to a DK, and this just wasn't, it didn't feel hardy enough around this. I think the coloring is great. I think it would have, looked nice to have that. This one, I think it just, the silver didn't make it pop enough. I think there was just too blah. So I gave up on the granny square idea. I did make a full sleeve, and that was going to be a great length. Give it a little bit of drape on the end. Everything worked up perfect. I blocked it. Went to finish the next sleeve and realized I didn't have 4 skeins of this. I only have 3 skeins of this. Oy, again, I think in just my rush to kind of deal with the stress of, I wanted to work on this while I was sitting in the hospital with my mother, and, so I was kind of, and I've been agonizing. I don't know why. I do know why. One is because I was agonizing over what stitch I was going to use. The other is I really wanted to use up some of the really beautiful yarns that I had rather than going out and just buying new yarn for this project. So my goal was to de-stash with it, not just buy new yarn. So that's why I've been agonizing over it, because I wanted to have something that was going to work as that de-stash, but also be really lovely and have a stitch pattern that that was really pretty as a sleeve and had a little more flair and elegance to it. That's kind of what I was going for. Now, I probably could go a little bit narrower on this and get a little bit more yarn out of it. But to be honest, I really did want the flare sleeve, and I've got skinny arms, so I certainly want it. Well, and that's a small jacket, so I probably could go skinnier on this. It has to be this wide at the top because it's where it attaches to the shoulder, but I could go a little bit narrower and maybe lose a shell or two as I went down, but I still want it to flare. So then it would get into doing a really sort of, okay, I've got to count how many I'm doing. And again, I was just trying to have a brainless project while I was in the hospital, because I don't want to have to think, okay, this is how many rows I've done. Now I got to decrease. Now I got to increase. I was trying to keep it simple. And here's where I am. So I could go back to this yarn and add in either the coral that I have, but this is a fingering weight. This is a sport weight. I could probably actually, now that I'm looking at this yarn, I probably could separate out some of these strands. Come here, where are you? And make it thinner. I'm just sort of thinking about this right now. And then it would, that might actually work. That might work really, really well, actually. Because the separated out, and I don't know how well you can see this, separated out, the color is so close to the coral that's in here. Whereas I feel like when it's thicker, when it's on this ball, it feels much more, in your face. That's the coral. And I didn't necessarily want that in this. So kind of, and I have, a couple of these balls. I know I'm getting all tangled up here, but I think I would have enough to kind of give accent rows so that, if I alternated and did stripes with this color and then the coral, that would work. So that's one option. The next option is, oops, let me sort of detangle some of these, get them out of the way. Another option that I was thinking of to go with this would be this. This coral, by the way, I believe is Valley Yarns. Valley Yarns Granville. That's what that is. And then this green is Juniper Moon Zoe. So it is 60% cotton, 40% linen. So I kind of think this is cotton. I'm pretty sure. And so the Granville is cotton. This is mostly cotton. This green might work with it. If I did the green with it, it definitely would be more of a delicate accent, whereas this would be the full pop. If I did the coral with it, I think the coral would be the pop, and this would almost be a little bit more subtle. That's my guess. Or I have this Knit Pick Stroll in cork. And I think that color with it would look good. But I feel like this tones it down. I feel like it's kind of just meh, blah, nothing special. Like, oh, I needed to have an extra color to bring more to it. So that's that. I love the idea of using this, but I don't know. And the part that I'm fighting with in all of this is I have this whole freaking sleeve done and I'm going to have to frog it because I need to do something else. So what I just started with, and I'm sort of playing around with, is a second sleeve, and I'm adding in some of this sort of, this is called Mom Jeans color. I love that name, Mom Jeans. And this is Emma's yarn, Crazy Beautiful Color, Simply Spectacular DK, 75% merino, 25% nylon, and yeah, it's called Mom Jeans. This is also a yarn that I had gifted to me, this kind of the leftover, so I have plenty of this. So I'm thinking maybe I'll do, you know, a few rows of the Mom Jeans. I've kind of started that here, and I think it blends nicely with those colors. It actually almost sort of feels like it belongs on the skein, so it's just sort of a natural addition to it. The only thing I don't know about is I will need to do a few rows of the Mom Jeans in order to really add enough extra yarn. Versus this, you can kind of see it's pretty much every row changes colors. So and I'm not going to change the color back to the Mom Jeans every row because I don't want to tie that many ends in. So that's the quandary that I'm at right now. I have settled 99.9% sure I'm going to stick with this stitch pattern. I just have to decide if I want to go back to this, which was my initial color selection, or this. And if I go to this, maybe I'll try this coral and see how that works. I've never separated yarn, but this looks like it's going to be super easy to separate. So it might not be a big deal. I don't know. I'm kind of stuck. And I don't like to be stuck. Because I like to be able to move forward, especially when I've got enough other stress in my life. And that's the reason that my desk looks like this, because yeah, I haven't had time to clean or organize or do any of those things. Probably, yeah. What do you think? Which do you think I should try? Maybe I should try the coral and the green. And do, like, you know, 3 rows of shells with this, and then do maybe 1 row with this and then 1 row with this. No. 3 rows, 1 row, 3 rows, 1 row. Ooh. See, look. Are you having fun yet? So I love experimenting with color and stuff, and that's sort of what I did here. So I had the main colorway with the speckles of all of the other colors in there, and then I just rotated, doing, you know, 1 solid in the pink, or rose, whatever you want to call that, 1 in, or, you know, a few in the speckle, and then 2 in the light green, and then you can see better than you can. I'm not very good explaining, and that's okay. I'm gonna let myself off the hook on that. So you something like that might work if I do a stripe like that. I don't know why, but I like doing color work in this way so that it kind of is fun and it's different and it's unique, even if I end up having to tie in more ends, but I don't want it to be overkill either. So let me try that. Let me see how that goes. And maybe that'll be beautiful, and that's what I'm going to go with. Because it's fun and it's different, and I need a little fun and different right now. So, well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for listening, and thanks for joining me on this crazy journey, both with the jacket design patterns and listening to my story if you tuned in for that. So I really appreciate it, and hopefully I will be back with you next week. Things seem to have stabilized with my mom, so all is looking good on that front at the moment, and so I should be able to have a video out back on my regular schedule next Friday. Thanks so much, and hey, Farah, take us out.